Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. Today, you are listening to my very first recording of my first episode of my new podcast series, which is pretty exciting. First of all, I want to let you guys know why I've decided to make a podcast. So my whole life, I've really valued deep connections with people and valued having a sense of tribe and community with others. But lately, I've been feeling a real push from the universe to share my thoughts and ideas and connect with people in a new creative way that I've never tried before, which is podcasting. So I want to share my ideas and find others who resonate with me and also create a safe space for people to be vulnerable and share their thoughts and ideas with me without coming from a place of judgment, just, allowing themselves to be completely vulnerable and open and authentic. And just create a little community of people who are on the same wavelength as each other. I like podcasting because it's a platform where you can share your ideas and connect with people that isn't visual. So a lot of people are using things like Instagram and Facebook these days, which are great. But along with that, I feel like people always need to find a really great visual image or whatever to share the ideas with, and not every person is going to read the caption of the photos that you're posting. Another reason for making this podcast is I'm really wanting to help others create a better relationship with themselves. I believe that once you establish a better relationship with yourself and learn to love yourself unconditionally in a healthy way, you're then able to create stronger, deeper, more loving, and healthier relationships with everyone else in your life. And hopefully then avoid any toxic relationships, because no one wants that. Once you create deeper and more meaningful connections with other people, you then will no longer have feelings of loneliness or depression or anxiety. Your relationship with your life becomes better, and your relationship with the entire world becomes a better place. So to give you guys a better idea of who I am someone who believes that there is good in everyone. I am someone who believes that everyone has a purpose for being here. I believe in the power of knowledge and education, both spiritually and scientifically. I believe in the power of connecting and creating deep and meaningful relationships with other people in your life. I believe that every single person is worthy of being loved and worthy of living a beautiful and fulfilling life. I believe that everything happens for a reason, such as the fact I'm making this podcast and you are listening to it right now. This podcast is for people who are just done with feeling fucking frustrated and feeling pain and feeling lonely and feeling hurt all the time. This is for people who are fucking done with the bullshit and just really want to live a better life and be a happier person and make better friendships and have better relationships with people and really help others along the way as well. Once we learn to take care of ourselves and once we're vibrating at a higher frequency, we are then able to spread that great energy onto others, and eventually that'll spread out amongst the entire world. And that's where it all started for me. I was just completely fed up with feeling like shit. And I just made a conscious decision that I didn't want to feel like this anymore. And I somehow found this belief and held on to this belief that people are able to come here to Earth and live a fucking amazing human experience, and that I wanted to be one of those people. And I didn't want to feel like crap anymore. So to give you guys a quick recap on me and about me and my experience, I was raised all over Canada, Germany, United States, and New Zealand. We moved homes a lot, we moved schools a lot, and that was really, really hard growing up because you can't help but get attached to the friendships and the new home you're in. You know, you end up loving your house and your bed or your clothes or your friends and the community and the shops and everything that's around you, really, your whole surroundings. It becomes your home. And then my parents moved again, and that was always really, really challenging for me. So I had to deal with this a lot growing up. There was eventually a point where I kind of hit rock bottom for the first time in my life, and I was about 11 years old, and my father passed away, and my older sister didn't handle the death well at all, and she was grieving pretty hard, and she got really aggressive, and so she moved out and wanted to live her own life at 16, so she moved out and started doing that, and my mom had to start working full-time to provide for my little sister and I, because the funeral costs and all of that costed a lot of money, plus moving to the other side of the world after my father's death. So we moved to a new town, and once again, I found myself in a new school. I didn't know anyone. I missed my friends dearly back in my old town. I didn't really feel like I fitted in at all in that school that I went to, and I kind of got a bit teased, and I felt really like an outcast in that school. You know, people would ask me like, why do you sound different, and why do you speak different, and why do you have short hair, and why don't you have freckles, and all this funny stuff, because I was from another country at that time. So it was just a hard time for me to fit in, and the neighborhood we moved to as well was kind of in a ghetto, and so I felt very, very unsafe. You know, I was looking after my sister when my mom was working night shifts at the hospital, and there'd be drunk men outside the door of the house, smashing glass bottles and beer bottles and things like that while I was looking after my little sister, who was about 4 or 5 at the time. And yeah, it was just a really rough time for me. I felt like I had no one to talk to and that no one understood me, because I kind of was forced to be this parent role for my little sister and be there for my mom, who was grieving dearly as well for my father at the time. So it was just a really, really rough patch. And so slowly, my mental health just kind of went down a downward spiral and quite down a dangerous little slippery slope. And I got really, really depressed and quite severely sick. And when I was a kid, I had no healthy coping strategies of how to deal with this. So I suffered from quite severe anxiety for many, many years. I had a lot of anxiety attacks in my childhood. I had depression for a long period of time where I no longer wanted to live, and the idea of death seemed more inviting and warm to me than continuing on with my life. I had constant insomnia throughout my teenage years. I had disordered eating habits. I had extremely low self-worth. And there were times where I felt so extremely alone and so extremely misunderstood, and that no one in my life understood me. And once I finally got out of school and I moved out of my home, I just found myself in really stupid situations and really dangerous environments because I didn't know any better at the time. And I had a lot of toxic relationships, unhealthy friendships, and so on and so forth. The older I got, the more I learned and the more I grew and became a stronger person. I totally believe that knowledge is power, and that's also why I'm here making this podcast. I think it is crucial and so fair for everyone to be given an equal opportunity to live their life in a healthy way. Therefore, we need to educate people and help others learn on how to grow and how to strengthen themselves. Getting through and overcoming these struggles has been a beautiful and long journey, which I am still on today and will continue to learn and grow for the rest of my life. I believe that we are all connected and that the more of us can grow together as one, the better our world is going to be. And it's going to be a much better place to live in.